great. I look like a real estate agent. Love it.
I was about to say. I was gonna say you look like Taylor Tomlinson on At Midnight.
Yeah, that's what all female comedians look like when they are wearing anything but a hoodie.
Yeah.
No, let's go. It looks great. Oh.
Are you okay?
I'll tell the camera.
Okay.
I went to this is how I started, just telling you about what's going on.
Yeah.
I went to boxing today and I sparred, which is where you get hit in the head, but you're wearing gear, and my brain is just completely rattled.
Actually?
Oh, totally. I'm like that. And there were a couple, because we were like going at it, and you can totally feel it. It feels like mushrooms. Like it's a little like.
Wow.
Yeah.
Getting punched in the head a bunch.
Yeah,
kind of rattles your brain. I believe it. I've never been punched in the head a lot.
It feels crazy.
Yeah. What are you feeling right now?
You are super glittery.
What?
You're glittery.
Well,
You're
that's a concussion.
No, I don't have a concussion. And yeah, it's like glittery. It feels like it's like right before you pass out. Dude, I almost passed out in the airport the other day.
Why? From what?
I think it was stress. I was back communicating with my ex, and I was in the Delta Lounge, and she was like, and this guy was like, you have to, deal with your service animal or something. And I just was like, started like going down, and I was like, oh shit. Oh. And then I walked out into the airport. I just like took Coyote. I was like, fuck all of that. And I just was like, I did the whole thing where you're like sweaty all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And then I was like starting to faint. And I was like, this doesn't make sense, because I knew how much caffeine I had had. If I don't eat and there's too much coffee, or like I can always trace it back to something.
Yes.
Like I can be like, no, I did eat that edible last night and it's metabolizing right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But this was nothing. So I hit him up and I was like, dude, we can't talk, because as much as my mind is like, I can handle that, my body is like, I'm dying.
Do you have like the breath thing? Like you can't breathe?
That's when I have panic attacks. But fainting is for me, I have like a really slow heart rate. It's 40, which is crazy. So my heart rate gets
resting?
Yeah, it's crazy.
What?
No, nobody knows why.
Is that a condition, or do you run like marathons?
My mom we were at the hospital one time because it got so low that I was just like perishing. And we go to the hospital.
Jesus.
And I wish I could see you better. And then the doctor's like, are you an athlete? My mom was like, no. And I was like, well, I do run. And she was like, she is not an athlete. I am an athlete.
Don't listen to her.
No, it just be like that. It's always been like that.
See, I don't get fainting, but I got a panic attack on Saturday, actually, last week. And so it's like a similar feeling in terms of I like start going down, like your body has to be lower.
You have to go down, and then you have to shit. You got to shit it out. You have to shit the panic out.
Sometimes you got to shit it out. For me, I had to...
Have you ever tried shitting when you don't have to shit during a panic attack? It really helps.
Actually?
It's actually crazy. Like,
really?
You'll go to the bathroom and you'll be like, I'm going to go to the bathroom because I'm having a panic attack and I need to excuse myself.
Yeah.
And then you go in there and you shit, and for some reason...
It comes out.
It just helps a lot.
In the shit. It's emotional shitting.
It's emotional shitting.
The feelings come out with the poop.
Yeah.
I've never done that. I feel like I should do that.
It really helps.
You know what I do when I have a panic attack?
What?
I have the attack and then I act like it never happened.
Oh,
that's my strategy.
Nothing makes you panic more than acknowledging it.
Yeah. Just pretend that was a weird. That was like there's the air was weird in that area. It was hard to get air on that block.
Oh, the thing that helps me is on the road when I get panic attacks, I'll be about to proclaim it. And then Jake will be like, I feel so weird. And I'm like, dude, I feel weird. And he's like, I feel crazy. So usually we synchronize in feeling bad, which really helps.
Yeah, it does help to like talk to someone about it.
Yeah.
But what if you're alone? You just have it, right?
Dude, alone sucks.
Yeah, that's what happens to me.
But when I'm alone, it doesn't happen as much because I'm like...
Really?
Yeah, it happens when I'm with people and I'm talking to them and I'm expected to be normal. And I'm like, I can't be normal because I had a panic attack on you and Lucas's pod when I switched to Wellbutrin that day. And we were talking about panic attacks as we are now. And I started having panic attack while describing it.
Yeah. Talking about panic attacks or thinking about the feeling of a panic attack can bring on a panic attack for me.
Yeah.
Like because I had one Saturday, and then like Monday I was like thinking about it again, and I started to feel it, and I had to like really consciously think about something else. Because if I think about the feeling, then I start feeling the feeling again.
The other thing that helps me is like when it starts to come on, I'm like, okay, the worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to faint.
Yeah.
Puke. And like the thing about comedy is if you faint or puke, you have 3 people that care about you around you pretty much at all times who will come. Like I fainted in Central Park. I went and got a pap smear. And for some reason...
In Central Park?
In Central Park by one of the horses. One of the park horses gave me one. He had a scalpel. He had a spectacle. No, I got one, and then I went into Central Park, and I just, for some reason, the whole thing was really stressful. And I texted Jake, and I was like, I'm fainting. And I forgot I had shared my location with him.
Oh, nice.
And he just appeared behind me and was like, here we go. And
Actually?
Like, yeah. It was incredible. He was like,
fuck.
Because he lives up there. It was crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, that's the nice thing about comedy is it's not like you're giving a corporate meeting where you're pitching a marketing idea like Mad Men and then you faint. Like you faint on stage and half your fans are like, I know this person to be an anxious person.
Right.
That's what's happening.
Right.
I always tell myself that.
Sometimes people think it's a bit too. They like they'll think it's like a bad bit.
Yeah.
Like they think you're kidding.
Sometimes I crush when I'm panicking.
Really?
You ever have that? Yeah.
No.
The funnest show that I got like the most clips out of, I kept having a panic attack, and whenever I would start to tell a joke, I would start panicking. Like it would do because I would be hearing it outside of myself, and then I would go into crowd work and I would stop panicking because I'd be distracted.
Wow.
So the whole show was me just panicking and being like, tell me you're freaking me out. Tell me you're scary. And it was so funny because I drank a Celsius. Huge mistake.
Ooh.
But this whole sparring thing is probably not a good idea to do a lot.
Getting punched in the face a bunch?
Well, because there's nothing an anxious person wants less than an excuse for a panic attack. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if I started panicking and you were like, you're fine, that would help. If I started panicking and you said, well, that's because I gave you a little bit of weed, I would need to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
You know?
I laced your drink with a little bit of acid, so that's why you're panicking. Then you really freak out.
That wouldn't help.
Yeah.
You'd think it would help, and I'd be like, well, that's why.
I know. I have a joke about it, but that's why I can't date someone, not that specifically, but that's why I can't date someone else who's anxious. Because one of my exes was anxious, but it's like there's no one there to cut it just builds and builds. Like
Dude.
It's like when you're on a trampoline, you get double bounced.
Yes, it is a double bounce. Yeah,
exactly.
Dude, double bounce was sick.
Yeah, double bounce.
So fun.
Oh my god!
We had a
but you
trampoline.
panic because you go so.
Yeah, you're like up, and then you're like, no. It's like that.
Woo!
Yeah, it's the best.
You don't.
I had a panic attack with my ex, and something that happens when you're having a panic attack is objects are bizarre. Like say I was having a panic attack and you handed me this.
Yeah.
It would be trippy, and I'd be like, oh, it's like synthetic and nylon. It's like such an object, and it's so like tangible. And I was having that I was like trying to put makeup on to go do shows, but I was having a panic attack, and everything in my bag, I was like, it's such a like object. And the guy I was with was like, you're freaking me out. Maybe we should go to the hospital. And I was like, pause, called Ian. I was like, Ian, I'm having a panic attack, and objects are like objects, and they're too intensely objects. And he was like, yeah, it's totally fine. It'll pass. And I was like, thank God. Like, I can't have somebody be like, are you okay?
Yeah.
That is not, it's insane.
That'll bring on panic for me if someone asks me if I'm okay like that. Like a genuine, sincere, are you all right?
Yeah.
I'll start to go, no.
Or you're acting weird?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wait, so the other thing, this goes into one of our topics for the day, is I will have like a small dose of Klonopin, Xanax, something on hand just in case.
Oh,
you
good.
can't do that, right?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
You can't.
Nope.
You have nothing to fall back on.
I'm raw dogging it.
Because you used to be addicted to?
OxyContin, opiates in general, not specifically OxyContin, but that's how I got into it.
Can you drink?
Yeah, I can drink. I just don't. I avoid everything. Sort of
similar to it.
Not. Well, yeah, definitely similar to it. But I avoid drinking more than one, maybe two drinks at any point.
Yeah.
And I avoid smoking weed to the point where I feel out of control. It's because like once I get to a place of being like releasing and falling into whatever drug I'm on, even like a microdose or a macrodose of shrooms. Well, maybe not shrooms, but once I get into like 4-drink territory, then it'll lead me back to wanting what I actually want, which is oxy or just opiates in general. Like everything would just lead back there, because that was the feeling I was seeking. And so when I'm drinking, I'm like, well, this isn't what I want. What I actually want.
Same with me and cocaine.
Yes.
Yeah, if we were to get drunk right now, I'd be like, let's get coke. If we were to like,
yeah.
I mean, weed, certainly not. Weed, I would be like, let's never live a day again. You know, I would not want coke on weed.
Fall asleep.
But alcohol will lead me to Adderall or cocaine or something like that. Uppers are, because I have the slow heart rate, so uppers are, I was addicted to coke, and I remember just blurting it to my mom and being like, because I was buying a bag. I dated a coke dealer for a little bit, and then after that, he just always gave me $30 grams, which is so cheap.
What?
And it was the best coke in the world. It was the best. Like, I'd give it to people, and they would hound me.
Was this in New York?
In New York, yeah. And then I just would buy it Wednesday, do it Wednesday, and then do it on the weekend. And then I would convince myself it was okay to buy more on Wednesday and then do it on the weekend for some reason. And then
the logic is hilarious.
The logic is
if I only buy it
crazy.
twice a week, even if it's in a large amount, I don't have a problem.
Yeah. Even if I do it all and I'm sticking my tongue in the bag and going into the corners of it, and then chopping up my Adderall and snorting that too, and being like, I don't need to work on Monday, so I can do this now.
And you know why I would do that is I'd be like, well, I only buy it twice a week. Mm-hmm. You know, I really have a problem. I buy it twice a week.
Yeah.
I buy it every Wednesday. It sounds like I have a problem. I
Yeah.
buy it 1 day a week.
Yeah, listen to that.
Oh, really?
I know. And then I told my mom, I was like, I think I'm addicted to coke. And she's like, how's that going for you? And I was like, not good. And I think saying it out loud allowed me to stop. But then I had to get off Adderall.
The crazy thing is that, did it work? Are you off coke?
Yeah.
But you stayed in New York?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard to do. Did you go to meetings?
I broke up with a guy. I quit a friend group.
Okay.
I quit bowling. I was addicted to coke and bowling. I was addicted to doing both. I had to quit bowling. Got rid of my ball. Got rid of my bowling ball.
I'm sorry. I don't want to judge.
You have no idea.
I don't want to judge because I also...
If we did coke right now and I said, I have an activity that you can get better at in every second, you would love it.
Yeah.
It's so... Because then as the coke wears off, you get... Not a lot. But as the coke wears off, you get worse and worse because your self-doubt kicks in. So
and
then you're like, another round.
Oh, I see. Yeah. It's an incentive for more coke, basically.
And in New York, you can bowl till 4 a.m.
Yeah, you can bowl all night.
It's so nice.
Well, you know what's funny about you saying that is in high school when I was on Oxy, we would often go bowl.
Yeah.
But it was almost the opposite, which is like, it's a thing you can be really bad at.
Yeah.
And there's like no pressure. Like you take sometimes we would literally take like 6-7 minutes in between each bowl. Because we're just like on Oxy in the in like the booth. Yeah.
Did you do it with a friend group?
Yeah.
And did you have to abandon them?
Mm-hmm. They're still on it.
Really?
Those guys, yeah.
Did any die?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Would you believe it? Yeah. Some of them died. A lot of them went to rehab. I think none of them are still sober except me.
So what's the vibe of your crew? You look like if watchers are like, oh, he's a rich kid doing oxys.
The vibe of my crew was rich kids doing oxys.
Oh, okay, cool.
That was 100% correct.
Okay, it was rich.
So because I think I told you this before, but I wouldn't blame you for not remembering it. I went to private school because my mom taught at private schools.
Oh, so you got to sneak
free
in.
tuition.
Nice.
So all my friends were rich. It was actually crazy. They were all like rich, really rich private school kids. So, and I was like...
That's why you're so close with Lucas.
Yeah. I'm the only one who's like used to that.
Yeah.
And then my dad was a house painter. My mom was a school teacher. We grew up in a house that was so shitty. People thought when they saw it, they'd go, you live in the abandoned house? Like that's how shitty it was. And my parents were divorced when I was 5. So no one kept up the house. It was like there's holes in it and like weeds growing everywhere. So people thought my house was abandoned. And then I'd go to my friends' houses and it was like the richest people in Philadelphia.
I'm surprised you didn't get fat.
Fat.
Well, I grew up poor, and I would go to friends that had money, and I would eat everything because there was a scarcity mentality.
The Gushers. They had like Gushers closets, like closets of just
pantries.
Snacks. Oh yeah.
What the fuck are pantries, dude? That's crazy.
No.
Chewy bars, Nutri-Valley. What are we doing?
I ripped those. I don't know why I didn't get fat. Because I would do the same thing. I would literally take some Gushers, put it in my bag, and bring it back to my parents' house.
Probably metabolism.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know what it was. Maybe fear. I didn't eat enough at my house.
You didn't eat
enough when we were at my house, like at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Neither did I, but then I would double down. I guess my dad, he would have really bad food I could eat. There's tiers of poverty.
Yeah.
There's type 2 diabetic poverty, which is like mac and cheese.
Right.
Over and over and over. And then there's the next level up, which is like, we have almonds. And you're like, I just don't want to eat that. That's what my mom and your family was.
Yes, exactly. 100%. Yeah. It was just shit you didn't want.
Yeah.
We had like the knockoff Chewy bars that were like just shitty.
Yeah.
Not like Kind Bar. It was like before Kind Bars. It's like they kind of like peel apart and they get stale.
Yep.
And it's literally just like, it's like solid oat.
Oh my God, what
like
are
solidified
those called?
oats.
We had those too.
I don't know what those are called, but they're disgusting.
Quiche. There's a quiche in the fridge. I heard that so many times. There's quiche in the fridge.
Yeah.
Just frozen quiche. How am I going to eat that? I'm a child. You're not going to convince me to eat egg pie.
I know. On like a Sunday at 4.
It's
I'm
crazy.
Like, what about food?
Did you guys have family dinners?
Yeah, we did have family dinners at my mom's house. So my parents divorced. My mom, we lived in that really shitty house with my mom. And this is the crazy part is for 8 years when I was, or maybe 7 years when I was 12 to when I was 19, I lived with my dad and his girlfriend.
12 to 19.
In addition to my mom's house. So we split time. My mom, that shitty house growing up with like that shitty stuff. And then when I was 12 to 19, my dad moved in with someone who was a billionaire. She had $1 billion.
Wait, 12 to 19, that your stepmom was a billionaire?
Mm-hmm.
What was your mom feeling?
She didn't love that.
That sucks. Did he break up with her? Wait, I have to take this.
No. He proposed 5 times maybe.
To
she
who?
said no all the times to my stepmom. I call her my stepmom. They never got married because she had $1 billion.
And he was a pauper.
He
was a papa.
What's the opposite of a gold digger? Or I guess a gold digger.
He doesn't
have to be a woman. It just was like
yeah. What's the opposite? I like that man is opposite.
Yeah.
Wait, so your dad left your mom, or they left each other?
I just think it didn't work. No, there was no real details there.
How do you not have details? I have every details of everything that's ever happened.
You know, I actually don't know why.
That's crazy. You don't ask?
No. And they just, my mom describes it as like a slow falling apart once they had kids.
Oh, where they like slept in separate beds.
Not separate beds, but like emotional separate beds.
Yeah.
Separate beds emotionally.
And was the stepmom hot?
I don't remember seeing her as hot, but she was much younger than I think she was like 10, 15 years younger than him. Wow. And he met her because he was a house painter. He just like paints walls.
Hot.
And
does he paint the outside of houses?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
He does it all.
He's got paint on his pants?
He's got paint pants. Paint pants, paint hands.
Paint hands.
Yeah. Wow. That's the big thing. I remember from my childhood, just like white paint always. Like,
so he didn't have a lot of money?
No.
So she met him. He was painting houses.
Her house.
Yeah.
It's like a porn.
It is like a porn. That's how my dad met his last wife.
Actually?
Installing cabinets.
Wow.
And then they bunged all over those cabinets. So then, and she had money. And then I think she died recently, which is crazy. Whatever. Let's not get into that.
She died?
She died.
Oh, you don't want to get into that?
Do you have a QR code on your wallet?
Yeah.
Why?
Just in case people want to, what?
That's genius.
What were you?
They can follow you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's for my email list specifically.
That's good.
After a show.
You're a hustler. I like that.
Oh, good. Thanks.
That's good. I mean, it's cringe, but it's good.
It's the most uncomfortable thing.
Why don't you put it on your phone?
I have it on my phone.
Oh.
I also, what if my phone's charging or something? You know?
What if you got a tattoo of a QR code to go to your Instagram? That'd be crazy.
And you could never change your website URL though.
Okay, so then she was rich. You move in with her. You move in with her?
We move in, so it's 5 days a week with the custody agreement remains the same. 5 days a week with my mom and 2 days every week with my dad.
Did you like going there?
My dad's house? Yeah.
Because it was sick.
Yeah.
And your friends were on Oxy.
And they were on Oxy. And a lot of the interesting thing was this was the strategy I developed. I liked going to my dad's. We didn't spend too much time there, or I didn't. I think my sister did, but I didn't, because I would tell my dad, once I was 13, I learned I could do this. I would tell my dad I was at my mom's, my mom was at my dad's. They didn't communicate with each other.
Yeah.
So I literally could just go do whatever I wanted.
Genius.
Like a latchkey kid. Genius.
Because they lived near each other-ish?
Yeah, like 20, 25 minutes away. Probably 20 minutes in a car.
Wow.
And so I just would tell them that, and they would never check. I would even tell sometimes my dad I was sleeping at my mom's. My mom was sleeping at my dad's, and then just sleep wherever.
My parents would not care if I said I was sleeping in a ditch. They would be like, yeah, that's fine. Wake up.
You could be open with them?
They just didn't understand why. They would just be, friends would be like, hey, you have to get your kid out of here. We have school in the morning. They have school. And my mom would be like, just let her sleep there. They're going to the same school. Like, what is the problem?
Yeah.
And like, it would be, the school night thing was so weird to them. And they were just like, yeah, sleep. You're fine. You'll be fine.
That's unlike almost any parent I've ever heard of.
Really?
The school night thing?
There was no rules. I've never been grounded.
Wow.
My mom would buy us liquor so that we would drink in the vicinity.
In the house?
I could go to any parties I wanted. I could do anything I wanted.
Yeah.
Besides like break her stuff.
Do you think that, because it's a similar vibe for me.
Really?
Even if I was there, I was never grounded my whole life.
Wow. Yeah, my mom, I think one time was like, you're grounded. And then I was like in the house and she was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, I'm grounded. And she was like, well, leave and be grounded.
She's like, that's annoying for me. Trying to watch the TV. You're ungrounded.
But then when I was 15, or when I was 10, my sister came home, burst open the door, and ran up the stairs to my mom and had been brutally raped. Like brutally. Like
what?
Real raped. Yeah. And like was out at a party, was 15, stolen, raped. And the way she got away was at one point he was like sleeping. The guy was sleeping and she punched him up. She punched his face up and then ran outside like with no clothes on, flagged down a car, got home. And that was when my mom was like, okay, I don't care where you go, but you do have to take this. And she had a giant construction team.
Yeah.
So I'm 10 and she's like, you have to have this at all times. And it was a Nextel. So I had one of those just clipped to my little pants all the time.
Wow.
So in the middle of the day, you'd hear like my mom being like, Mike, you need to get the 2x4s up to the such and such. And I'd be like, sorry. So that was the most supervision is she was like, you just have to have your phone.
Wait, can we go into that story or no?
Which one? The rape?
That's that's absolutely
it was brutal.
insane.
It was
Did they get the guy?
Yeah. He keeps breaking parole. The really fucked up thing is she's 15. She's dating a 20-year-old at the time who's a huge part of the family now. We love him to death. We call him Uncle Mikey. He's the best. And he works for my mom, he's the best. But they found his semen inside of her.
And they thought
No. So they were like, if you press charges on the other guy, who we also found semen, we'll press charges for statutory rape. We'll send him to jail. So don't. What? So they were like, so do the minimum, settle for the minimum, which was like, I think he was in there for like 7 years. But now he keeps breaking parole because his parole is crazy. He can't go within an incredible amount of feet of schools or watch any porn or...
Watch any porn?
He can't watch any porn. He can't. The list was crazy. I remember like being 10 and being like, this is a lot. And like, he can't go anywhere near me. He can't go anywhere near her. Like, it's like, then he just keeps ending up being put back in jail. Because
he breaks his parole over and over. Yeah. He did it before, I assume, repeat offender.
I don't think he had raped before, but he had done something.
Yeah.
He had done assault probably.
Yeah. Wow.
But she was, so that.
So that didn't seem to scare you off from going out and.
I remember her getting raped and me being like, that would never happen to me because I'm so gross. I remember thinking that and being like, I'm so jealous. That would never happen to me. I remember that horrible thought. And I remember like being, and all it did was, I mean, it did make me, I just like couldn't, it was like, I was 10, right? So like by the time I get older, I just was like, I hang out with a different group. I mean, we were so different. She was at the big high school. I was at like the pothead high school that had like 300 people.
You went to different high schools?
Yeah, she went to Ithaca High School, which is huge. And I went to ACS, which is like a little tiny hippie school with 30 kids per class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why?
So I was like...
You didn't want to go to that one?
They just like... I didn't want to go to it, but they also... It's a lottery system to get in. It's a public school. And my friends were all going there. And it just was... I was like a bad kid. Like I lived in the detention in the principal's office. So my parents were like, just do this because you're just going to become a crackhead if you go to the other one, which is true. And I had crippling OCD also. So I had ACS was like, I had teachers that were like, it was their job to like, to like the nurse had a special thing for my medication and everything like that.
Right.
And yeah, it was like.
You got the kind of attention that you needed. Yeah. Because a big public school, they're like.
Yeah. I mean, who knows what would have happened? Maybe it would have been fine, but it was like. ACS was like, we're all still so close. It's very, and I just was like, I was such a class clown that when I went to ACS, my teachers would be like, dude, you're hurting my feelings. And I'd be like, oh shit. Like at a big public school, they're like, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're like, just go to the principal's office. And I'd be like, fuck yeah. We had a thing where if you did something bad, you had to go to community court. So I remember one kid said to a teacher, shut your whore mouth while the men are talking. And he was like a kid.
Oh my God.
He was a little Tony Soprano. And his what's it called? Punishment was he had to write a 5-page paper on women's rights. And he was like, just give me detention. And we were like, nah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, but I also... Yeah, I didn't have any. I wish that there had been a little more structure growing up, but I don't know if they would have been able to enforce it. I don't think it would have worked because me and my sister are so defiant.
Okay.
I think they would have been like, come home for family dinner, and we would have been like, fuck you.
that.
What are you going to take away from me?
What are you talking about?
What do you have?
Yeah.
I bought my own car.
So you never had family dinner?
Never. I mean, we would have family dinner if like it was like a potluck. We had a lot of potlucks, lesbian potlucks my mom would have.
Is that a thing in the lesbian community?
Lesbian potlucks is just how you get laid.
Oh.
Is you just go to a lesbian potluck and then you meet people.
So your mom was like dating around.
Oh yeah. They were my mom and my dad were constantly dating around. Wow. They were little sluts.
I'm glad.
They were in competition with each other for who could be the biggest man. It was crazy.
Glad that didn't happen to me.
Yeah. You haven't heard your
gotta be weird.
Dad banging your stepmom?
No.
Wow.
The house was too big.
How would they get you to go home? Oh my God, she had a big house.
Well, yeah,
the biggest house. What did she do? I mean, you can't say specifics, but
well, her issue is just generational.
Really?
She was in school for social work.
What?
Like she was
such a white lady thing.
I think she got degree. It is.
I did it. I went for a semester.
You did?
Yeah.
My sister is there currently.
Yeah.
And my sister's white.
Yeah.
She went to social work school, but she didn't really do. Like, I don't know if she had a job that earned money.
Yeah, she like donated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Philanthropist.
Yeah.
Which means rich.
He was painting her house. They started banging.
Mm-hmm.
They got together. Are they still together?
No, they broke up like it was like a 7-year relationship and they broke up.
What's his deal now?
Now he's single. He lives in an apartment in the town that I grew up in, and he sends money to his brother every week, every month.
Why?
So he's still working. He's 69 or 68 now. And he's supporting his brother who's 80 something because his brother was a drug dealer for a long time. And he never paid into Social Security because it was all cash and he couldn't report his income. So now his brother lives in a storage unit.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a storage unit in California. And so he sends his brother money every week or month.
Jesus.
Yeah, to support his. You learned a thing or two.
That's really fucked up.
Yeah.
Wait, did you ever tell your uncle that you were a drug addict, like him, or?
My uncle, I've met him twice, I think.
Why does he love his brother that much that he's willing to do that? If my sister lived in a storage unit, I'd be like, get your shit together.
Right, but I think it's because he's like 80 something. He's like, what do I? Get your shit together. He's 80. What's he gonna?
Storage unit's crazy.
He's gonna turn it around and be like thriving by 90.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of a slow descent.
Wow. And then your mom, and then we talked, and you and your parents, you don't talk that much.
Almost never. I think in my adult life they've called me less than 5 times just to talk. Gotta be less than 5.
Dude, I was just talking to John Kennedy's dad on the phone yesterday.
Yeah.
It was like I wanted to cry. He was asking me things. He was like, well, what does that feel like? What are you doing what is that? How is this happening? Do you feel like this about this? Are you sad? And I was like,
yeah.
And he was like, and I was like, I'm going to give you my number. And he was like, okay. And I gave him my number and I'm like, he's like, just call me whenever. And I'm like, I have a new dad. It was crazy.
Thanks, Dad.
The curiosity. I mean, my mom's super curious about my life.
Oh.
To the point where I feel very guilty because I haven't called her, you know what I mean, in a couple days.
Yeah.
And so was my dad. But
wow.
It's like you either have parents that can ground you or you have parents that are your best friends.
Yes, that's true. Are your parents your best friends vibe? Okay.
Yeah.
I actually can't even conceptualize what it would be like to have parents that called me. Like I can't even picture what would happen. Because I guess I'm picturing my parents calling me. But if they were to call me, they'd be different people. But I'm picturing my dad calling me up out of the blue and being like, have you heard about the vaccine? It's not
good.
It's not good.
Wait, but he wouldn't be like, how's comedy going?
He's more interested in comedy than my mom.
Is he a lazy boy guy?
He's like a big Kill Tony. A what guy?
Is he like a lazy boy guy where it's like, I just do what I'm supposed to do and don't make a big fuss about it? Is he like that?
I'm trying to place him. Not that. I wouldn't say that. I think he would make a fuss about it. He's more of I don't know, picture just like someone you think would listen to Joe Rogan. And that's exactly who he is. Kind of old school.
Is he Republican?
Not Republican or Democrat. Very like other thing. Doesn't trust institutions. Blue collar. Grew up in like a
libertarian
kind of a bad situation. I think was a libertarian for a while, but then isn't anymore. But now doesn't trust the vaccine. Was an RFK guy. RFK endorsed Trump. He doesn't know where he's voting.
But I can imagine I can imagine like I do this thing now. People should try this. Where, okay, so say all of a sudden a genie came in, not a genie, a witch came in and said, I'm making Jordan into the 7-year-old Jordan.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I was a little kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you imagine, like I imagine that kid running up to different people and being like, dude, I am Jordan. I know that I'm a little kid, but like you have to help me out. I'm like a baby.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah.
If you imagine them running up to like I did it with like my ex and he would be like, you know, or I did it with like my best friend and he'd be like, dude, we're going to have so much fun. Don't be scared, you know? I can't imagine running up to you and you being like, no.
What, you to me?
Yeah. Like if I was a little kid, I can imagine you being like, this is overwhelming me. I have to walk away from you. And me being like, but like I do.
If you were a kid?
Yeah.
No.
Well, because I was thinking like, what is the consequence of having a dad that's like this? Does it immediately, like, do you have to fight against the urge to not be like this?
Oh.
Because your parents are like arm's length. Like, do you have to like remind yourself to not be an arm's length person?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And I think it's more like in a relationship, becomes my default, but in that situation, I think I just help the kid. But I get what you're saying.
I think you would, but I think at first you would be like, this is a lot.
I think it would be the opposit.
Really?
At first I'd be like, fuck yeah. Like
really?
Jordan is a 7-year-old. We're like buddies. That's sick. I'm going to take care of her. I would think of it as like a movie, like a stork dropping a kid on a doorstep. And then I think over time I'd be like, well, I want my space from this kid.
Okay.
I do want to not take care of a kid all the time.
Yeah. I'm talking about the initial reaction because I do. Yeah, it does get hairy when you start being like, well, now you have a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the opposite. I'm like I'm like a love bomber type.
Are you avoidant?
No,
you're a switch. You've switched.
Yeah.
And then if you're with an avoidant, I think I'm a switch too.
You're verse?
Is that what it's called?
That's just like when gay guys go top or bottom.
Yeah, I'm versed.
You're versed.
I'm versatile.
Yeah.
I'm well versed.
Do you do you like well? So you're saying if they're anxious, you're avoidant.
Yeah.
If you're avoidant.
Isn't that just normal? Isn't that just how people are?
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. Because when someone's like, "Oh, I'm busy," when like I say I go on a good first date, and then I'm like trying to set up a second date, and they're like, "I'm busy," I'm like, "Great, now I really want to go on a date."
Oh yeah.
But whereas if they sometimes I've heard this, which is I'm free any day, and I go, ugh. I literally go, ugh, when I read it. I go, ugh.
I'm free any day is fucked up. I mean, just lie. Just lie.
Just pretend.
Just choose a day.
I don't want that. Who wants that?
I don't think anybody
You've
wants
no
that.
plans? What do you do all day?
Right.
Where are you going?
That's what they do is they go on dates and try and find a guy. Yeah. They make it a job.
Oh, man.
It's fucked up.
And I've been there before when you're the person who they have been looking for, and it's like every day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done I mean, I did a thing recently where I was like, yeah, I'll meet up with you when I'm in San Fran, and then I just got there and I was like, I can't. I like will just say yes and I'll be like, I'm available. I'll be this open thing. And then as soon as the piper comes a calling, I'm like, I can't. And then I freak out and then I'm like, my therapist was like, stop hanging out with people that you don't have the like connection with because.
Really?
Yeah, because isn't that interesting?
Fuck.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
Oh, man.
Because I was like, look, here's my problem. I keep going on dates with people. I don't have the connection. I think I should do it because what you're telling me is I have a problem where I don't allow love unless it's from somebody who hates me.
Yes.
And then he's like, my friends are being like, push through it. He's great. And that makes me go, fuck this. Everybody's wanting me to rape myself. Yeah. This feels like raping myself.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to call my ex because that feels safe.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And so Alan was like, don't do that then. Don't be completely alone. And then when you're ready to have a connection, you will, but you don't have to force a connection. You don't have to keep pushing something you don't feel. Which was very.
Like that.
It felt like
I want to force it.
You want to force it? Yeah.
I mean, we both come from addiction. It's like pretty obvious why, but I want to force it every time. I don't want that feeling of uncomfortability, of like just not having anyone interested for like a while.
I know.
I'll just force it with people I don't like. I did that a lot last year.
Oh, doesn't it feel like rapey?
What, for me?
Like when you have
no, not they. It's not that they don't like me. I'm not.
No, I know,
raping
but doesn't
people.
it feel rapey when you're forcing yourself when you're like having sex with somebody you don't like, and you're like, I just hurt my own feelings.
Yeah, it's that's a bad feeling.
Low.
That's
it goes
a bad
low.
Feeling. Well, I won't have sex. My thing, I won't have sex with people, but I will like go on like 3 dates and then be like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I think that's really healthy, actually.
Oh, good.
I think dates and boundaries. Like I went on a date and this guy was like, I had a huge boxing cut on my lip, and he was like, can I kiss you? And I was like, dude, I'm like literally bleeding.
Yeah.
And he was like, that's okay. And I was like, okay. And I was like, boundary, if somebody knocks once on it, I'm like, sure, sex forever, 100%. And like it is, so like dates, like setting a precedent of being like, I'm gonna go on this date, I am not gonna kiss them, I am not gonna allow them to be physical with me, is a great way to do it.
Well, my thing is I'm so sexual and I really enjoy sex almost regardless of
in an autistic way.
I think yes, and I think the feeling 100%.
I mean, I called John one time and he turned the camera towards you and you were
what was I doing?
Watching a YouTube video on how to tie somebody up, and you're like sitting on the rug and you're like, and you put the left one here and then you pull through and you're like, see? And I was like, this is not sexy.
I was practicing shikari.
Yeah.
Which is the Japanese art form of time.
YouTube. You were YouTubing it. You were not looking at a big oak book. You were watching YouTube and you had ropes and you were like, and to the left.
However, as I'm tying a woman up, left over right, that makes right.
The bunny ears is where we go.
What are you saying?
So you're sexual in an autistic way?
Yeah.
Like you're not, do you need the heavy eye contact? Is it a little Christian Bale, American Psycho?
What's that mean?
Like where it's like technique, like I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna do this. It's like a
no.
No. It's Mashy. Is it Mashy?
What do you mean?
Well, you know how there's two types of sex. There's origami sex where it's like you do this fold and then you do this fold and then you do this fold.
Okay.
And then there's mashy sex where it's just primal.
That.
You like primal?
That one.
Okay, cool.
Yes,
good.
that one for
That's
sure.
the only type of sex that should be had, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But that's why I wasn't like, it's basically the only time I feel like real release of like me and who I put myself, the box I put myself into as a human in the world interacting with people. And so I just release it. And that I just, you know, I feel
total vulnerability.
It's vulnerability and like feeling. It's like a real emotional. It's not
cry?
about like, sorry?
You ever cry from sex?
No.
No, I'm not gay. I'm not a gay man.
Well, come on. Imagine that happened with a guy you were having sex with. Has that happened before? A guy comes and then cries? That would be the scariest shit ever.
I've had tears of love. I've cried from when a guy was like being really rough with me in a way that it was good. It was like I felt it was like it was similar to the boxing thing where it's like, oh my God, I can finally like this is where it's matching the level of like my brain against me, that it's just like, fuck, you deserve this. And I'm like, that's exactly right, you know? And whereas the other one feels very tough for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
The emotional.
Yeah, it's super hard and super weird.
Yeah. I understand that, but I also have done that before and I've enjoyed it. Mostly I'm like, whatever I'm feeling in that moment, that's what I want to do. But I think it is compulsive in a way that, I mean, I'm trying to get away from it. That was like a lot of last year. Away from that sort of interaction with it, because I feel like it was just similar to Oxy and porn.
Really?
I did the same thing with porn, watching porn for a long time. Like you just do it to replace emotional infrastructure, basically to replace relationships that you don't have.
So you were going out fucking randos, not in a scary way, but you'd like go on a date and then you would have a super emotional sexual encounter with them. And then they understandably would probably be like, so marriage?
You nailed it.
And you'd be like, no.
Yeah, you nailed
it.
Yeah.
That's...
You nailed that pretty fast.
I'm imagining if I had sex with a guy and it was his one outlet to be emotional, I'd be like, I did this.
Wow.
I allowed him to do this.
Yeah, that was the reaction. From pretty universal reaction.
And you'd be like, no, I just...
Yeah. I'm like, that's just how I have sex. But it's hard to separate. That's why I'm trying not to do it as much. I think that's why I'm trying really hard to just not like go on dates without sex. Because I do think having sex the way I have sex, it feels like a lot to people that don't do that. Does that make sense?
Is it eye contact-y?
Sure. If that's the feeling, you don't like that?
No, sorry. I was just imagining you having sex and I can't picture that. I mean, I can picture it, but I was imagining you breaking a woman's heart. I was imagining you like deeply looking at a woman and like kissing her very passionately and then afterwards being like, see ya.
Oh, yeah.
Which I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. I've dated people like that. And I dated somebody who was exactly like that in sex. Like everybody knew he was good at sex. He had sex and it was like a dance. Like he was just like, this is something I am good at because I put passion into it. And then he was like, but you're the best hang. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, so that sex isn't about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But outside of sex. So that's probably what you're going to have to do, where you're like, I can have amazing sex with anybody because I can make I can feel it with anybody, but you have to see if the waking, which is great that you're not really having sex.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to, wow, you're very good at this. But yeah, that's why I'm trying to not have sex right now, because I do feel what you said is true.
Because then you talk to them afterwards and it's a nightmare.
That's actually, but part of how I know there's not a real connection is after.
Yeah,
I don't know if because like I can trick myself.
Yeah.
And I've done that before of like, no, I like her.
Yeah.
Like she's great. And then we fuck. And after I come, I go, she has to be gone. Or I have to be gone.
Well, there is a
I want to turn into a bat.
Biological imperative to leave.
No, but when I have a real connection with a woman, I'm like, this is the best part, is after.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So then afterwards, you're like, now we get to watch a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now that I've gotten that demon out.
I know. I've seen it with my friends. So many of my friends are guys, and I've literally been like, They've been like, I'm gonna go fuck, and I'm like, great. And then I just am like, I'm watching the clock, and then I get the call, and they're like, dude, can we hang out? I feel bad. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't know why you did that. She sucks.
I know.
And it is like, I know it's the same thing. Like with women, with me, I'll be like hanging out with a guy, and it'll be really like physical and good, and I'll be like, oh, I think I love this person. And then as soon as I get a little bit of distance, I'm like, I don't like that. So I think it's similar, where it's like, as your balls swell, our heart swells, and we need space to like be like, do I actually like that person?
Yes, yeah.
But it is. I never have like amazing sex with somebody, and then I'm like, I guess my thing is like, if it's amazing kiss, we're married.
Yeah.
Amazing sex.
Oh man.
I don't even know if I've had it with one of my boyfriends, but sex for me is so tough. Like, it's such a undertaking, and it's so unnatural to me, and it's so like it comes with so many bad things that I've just spent so many years just fucking anybody who would want to, that now when I do it, I immediately, my go-to is just like dissociate, get through it, get to the other side.
Right.
And one guy I dated, it was very like, oh my God, you have the freedom to like be totally in this and open, and it helps so much. But it is like, if I don't trust them, like almost like a fucking brother. Yeah. It feels scary.
Yeah, I think that's more common for women.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the thing I think I miss, that because I don't feel that way. Yeah. Like I have before. There's some people, like some women I'll have really great sex with, awesome sex, like some of the best sex I've ever had. And there's actually a mutual understanding that it's not like a relationship-y
That's
vibe.
Good.
Yes. But I do think a lot of women, when they decide to have sex, it's a bigger deal. Like when they're like, yeah, I will have sex with this person, it's a bigger deal than when I do it. And then totally. when it's like very emotional and it's very present, then it can feel like a bigger thing, because it's not that common for them to even want to.
It's not that common to want to, and then certainly not to have somebody be present during it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Right. Yeah, you have to be, that's a weapon.
Yeah, but the pride flag helps.
The pride flag does help. The pride flag in your room, looking up at that while you're passionately fucking them and being like, well, this will never work. I could never be with this person.
Who the fuck is this guy?
You were in a relationship at the same time that you were having dick problems. Remember that?
Oh man. Yeah.
Is that how you be doing? Because I've also dated dudes like that, where it's like, as soon as they're in a stable thing with me, dick don't work.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
For a long time I was the opposite. When I had the dick problems, which was like when I was like 18 to when I was like 23, I think, like those 5 years of college, I couldn't get hard with anyone pretty much ever. And the only thing that helped was when there was like a real connection. So when I got in the relationship, I didn't have the dick problems.
Okay.
They kind of went away when I felt comfortable with someone. It was all anxiety. But what it really stemmed from, actually, is the watching porn and then believing that's what sex should be like.
Dude, it's really bad.
It's bad. And then when it happens, one, it's a different stimulus. Like, it's a real person. It's totally different having real sex versus watching porn.
Yeah.
And then two, expecting things of yourself that aren't physically possible, you know?
Totally.
Like, just like being so hard and never coming and all this stuff that's like just doesn't happen.
And you expect vaginas to be the feel of a fist.
Yeah, like a hand.
Yeah,
like a rough, calloused
hand.
Like
a rough, calloused hand that you can control the depth and and tightness of.
Yes, totally. Yeah. When I started having sex with like a wet vagina after like a long time, I was like, ew, it doesn't feel. And then you get used to it, but like at first I was like, it's like fucking like angel hair pasta.
Yeah.
Like slimy with like olive oil on
it,
which I've never done.
Yeah,
but
that's
great,
what it felt.
I saw your eyebrow, like, wow.
I do think, I think porn is really bad. I'm very against porn. I mean, I think that porn is, it's hard to say I'm against, it's hard to say that because it's like there's a huge porn industry and sex workers, but I'm like, I'm all for like exploration of like kink and shit and going to weird sex parties and being a freak. I hate that people do that, but I'm okay with it. But porn, I hate that
I hate
that they do. I think it's so dorky. I think it's so gay to go to a place and be like, we're going to dress up and have sex.
Like Comic-Con for sex?
Yeah, it's Comic-Con for sex, dude. It's crazy.
Who are you? I'm the dungeon master.
It's just not that big of a release. It's like, I get that if it's like, we're going to do massage and then have sex and like a spa day with sex, that's fine. But like going to a party and being like, time for sex in my Batman suit is so stupid.
I'm the dominant.
Yeah.
Call me the.
Yeah. That's so
like
whack.
A full leather outfit.
Yeah.
Call me the, please.
But I do think that porn is, it sucks. I feel that way, but I do.
Yeah.
I think all of it, I think OnlyFans is bad. I think paying money to a girl to send a photo of her tits once a week is bad. Like, it's just, it totally, magazines. Yeah. Magazines are all right. A still photo of a woman, so you have to use your imagination.
Agreed.
That's sick.
Yes, totally. Yeah. That's almost the same as just picturing someone like in your imagination.
Totally.
And then like picturing you having sex with them and jacking off to that. But I think porn, I don't like saying it's like universally bad, but I know for me, the way I interact with it and the way it changes the way I think about sex is very bad.
It's great to use with your partner if you've been together for 8 years and then you're like, dude, let's watch some fucking porn and really get
I would
fucked
hate
up.
that.
I would hate it. But I can imagine, no, I would hate that. But I can imagine a couple being like, dude, we're 45.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's watch some weird sibling porn or something.
And then...
you know?
And then watching it and never quite feeling the same about your partner. Mm-hmm. Kind of it fundamentally shifts
People
the way
love
that
that shit. Couples love that shit, though.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I was in a relationship with a woman who is very poly like minded, and that's one of the worst things.
We're all we all can conceive of how monogamy is insane. Dude, I went to a wedding and I was like I mean, I think I'm poly-minded because I think the reason I get into relationships with avoidance is because I actually think it's crazy to live your life with one person forever, and it scares the shit out of me. So I'm just like, oh, I'll just date somebody who won't let that happen. But yeah, the idea of like forever sex with one person, not even sex, forever connection with one person, and like I go on stage and I'm like, I have a husband, and I watch as half the audience like goes dead-eyed just because you know what I mean? Like, or you meet somebody and there's this like sparkle and they're like, you know, are you with anybody? And you're like, yes.
Yeah.
And you see is that this like magic thing is gone.
Yeah. They go to the sunken place.
Yeah. So that is scary to me, but then when I think about, you know, like I was talking to a guy at the wedding about this and he was like, dude, my wife is like, I wish that all of you were gone so I could just hang out with her. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, she's like, is the coolest person and we have the most fun together. Yeah. It is like a no-brainer. And I was like, okay, that I can imagine.
Well, because you have friends that you feel that way about, right? I'm imagining you have like a friend
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friends that I feel that way where I'm like, yeah, forever.
So why not a romantic partner? You just feel differently about someone when you have sex with them.
I worry that like that the saying we will do this forever will make us both not want to do it forever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So you're sort of, can I ask a question about that? Yeah. Are you just anti-marriage then?
I want a wedding, but I'm almost anti-marriage.
Because you're like, it's the saying, and by the way, I totally agree. Yeah. It's the saying we're going to be together forever. I'm like, because I have friends, I'm like, I've been their friend for 15 years and we're going to be friends. I have a friend I've been friends with for 25 years and we're going to be friends until we die, but we don't make that commitment. We just are. And I think if I were to say to him, I'm going to be your friend for the next 60 years until we die, I would then go, wait, I want out of this.
Yes,
That's a crazy obligation.
I'd pinky promise. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I think what I want is to marry somebody and have them be like, first of all, it's just a wedding. There's no legal shit. It's just a wedding. It's just a party.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And then I want to say, like, which is, I think this is how a lot of people that I'm friends with have gotten married, is like, if there is a time that you want to explore shit with somebody else, we will talk about it and make it okay. Like, if there is, like, this is not
really,
yeah, like if, you know, like if I am like, just because I won't, it's like when you take the dog off the leash, it stops pulling. Like, if you tell me like we're going to be married and if there is a time where you want to explore something, you are allowed, I'm not going to want to. Yeah. But if it is like a thing that we could talk about, or, you know, there might be a time where you have a husband and he gets fat and gross and you're like, dude, go fuck somebody. Go fuck somebody else. Go see how that body feels on a different woman who isn't used to it, you know? And that is, but yeah, the whole like forever one person thing is.
You're going to be a great wife.
Yeah.
Come on, you're fat. Go fuck someone.
You're fat. Go fuck a girl.
You got a mustache. You got crumbs in it. Go fuck someone.
And it can be good. I mean, the thing is, if you're in a secure relationship with somebody, it can be. Anytime I'm with an avoidant, I'm like, you may never look at a person.
Yeah.
You know, but if they're like, you are number one, and also we can be weird. But yeah, it freaks me out. And I think when I'm with somebody who's like, I want to be with you forever, even if it's so good with them, I'm like, you have to go. There's no way. Because what am I going to say? Yes? We'll just do that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't that
that's
crazy?
Crazy.
Imagine a woman being like, Jamie, I want to be with you for the rest of your life. And imagine just being like,
I would literally go,
okay.
you're fucking insane.
Right?
You're like,
but are we going to feel like that forever?
Probably.
Yeah.
Also, it's just telling.
You've been in relationships. You've lived with women before.
Oh yeah, I was in a 4-year relationship. I lived with her. We had a dog together for 4 years, 22 to when I was 26, and I guess towards the end, that's how I felt. I was like, it's really going to be this forever, and I wonder if it's partially our backgrounds, like the parents.
Yeah.
Because she didn't. She was just like, I found my person and that's what it is. And like, this is what life is. And I felt it very stifling and sad. And like, it felt like the end of my life. It literally was like, I was like, okay, so if it's this until I die, why not die now?
Die now. Die right now.
Just get it over with.
I think that's just.
Is that crazy?
That's how a lot of people feel.
Okay.
But I do think it's a mixture of there isn't enough like push pull, like there isn't like somebody is super like say you're dating somebody and they're like incredibly busy all the time and you can't even get to see them as much as you want and you respect them so much, then them being like, I'll be with you for the rest of your life is like a relief,
right? But
when somebody is, I'm available every day and I want to be with you forever, it's like, no. What do you mean? There's no way. Why would I? You can't just like feed me and feed me and feed me. You know, I'll die.
So I have a thought experiment.
Okay.
You're with someone who has been very hot and cold. You don't see them as much as you want to see them. And there's a dynamic in the relationship. You're the anxious one. They're the avoidant one. And they pop the question. Or what about this? They float the idea of marriage.
I'm thrilled.
You're thrilled.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I would feel.
But you start thinking about it.
Okay.
So they don't just pop the question. They go, I'm thinking like maybe we could get married in the next year, next couple of years. And then you in your head start going, this person wants to marry me. Would then the dynamic flip? How would you react? Would you go, that's amazing, we'll get married in 2 years? Or are those 2 years going to make you go, wait, now I don't, if I know that?
I think it depends on how avoidant they are. If they're super avoidant, I'll be like, yes, trap. If they are secure, I'll probably freak out a little bit. I'll probably sabotage it. That's what I do. Like I'll probably start fights constantly and make it so I'll test the limits.
Yeah.
But I've had a friend, one of my best friends is an avoidant, forever was just like pushing this dude away. And then one day he proposed to her and she was like, yes, I will do it. And she's like, I'm the happiest I've ever been because I've accepted that we will be together forever.
And that worked for them?
For them. I can't.
So they're still together?
Yeah, they're together right now. Yeah, they're together right now. They haven't got married yet, but she's like, it's the best because my entire life has been me being like, do I want to be with him? Do I not want to be with him? Do I want to? And now I'm like, I am with him. I have chosen him for a reason. I love him. And I don't have to keep asking myself that question. And I'm like, but how do you?
That doesn't sound right.
I know.
Am I crazy? She's like, I don't have to ask that question. I've already decided.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you can definitely get out of it. You haven't even married him.
Yeah.
I would immediately.
But that's what my therapist would say. He'd be like, it's just a choice that you're making. And I'm like, I don't want it to be a choice. I want it to be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
I want it to be like, duh. But I don't think it's ever going to be duh.
Maybe for us.
Yeah.
But I think there's people where it's
secure
like,
people have duh, where they're like, it's fine.
My friend, I just went to my first friend. He's my friend of 25 years. I met when I was 2. He just got married, and it was like a duh. Like there was no,
oh my God,
nothing from either party.
That's so
ever
sweet.
once did he doubt it. Did
But
she
did he have
doubt
parents
it?
that were together who loved
Both
him?
of their parents have been together for
Yeah,
a very,
fuck
very,
them.
very long time.
That is exactly how John is.
Yeah.
John and Aloe are in love. The other day we were playing a board game and they were like whispering to each other jokes. I was like, what are you doing? You're not on the same team. And they were, it was so loving. And like, Aloe will, like, last night he was like, dude, Aloe did this thing. And we're like laughing hysterically at something that Aloe did a week ago that he's telling me. I'm like, this is, nobody I've ever dated would talk about me with another party. There's no way.
No. Especially, well, they might, but it wouldn't be like a positive.
No.
It would be like, guess what Jamie fucking did?
Yeah.
That would be it.
Totally.
He tells me he shows up 40 minutes late because of a show.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He just doesn't care.
Yeah.
I can't make him care. You can't make somebody care.
It's just, but also, I don't understand. Where does that come? Is that just innate?
That is.
Can I get that? I want some of that.
I mean, you'd have to do all of the parenting shit. And you'd have to tell your parents that they fucked up.
Oh, yeah. No, I told my mom.
Did you?
I did.
Recently?
Yeah.
After we had that talk?
Yeah.
Really? I'm so glad. Did it go bad?
So it didn't go bad. It went well. But I was also like, what's she going to do in this conversation? It's more about like what comes out of it. She was like, I understand. And I hope that we can. A little gaslighting. Like she was like, I was basically calling her to say, oh, you've never called me my adult life. So I would like you to be interested and call once in a while would be nice.
That's
and
great.
I want you to be interested in my life. And I need you to show up for me like the way that like I need, which is calling, being interested, being supportive.
Good job.
And she was like receptive. She was also like, I didn't know you wanted that. And I was like, that's fair, I guess. But it's also crazy to assume someone wouldn't if they're your kid. I think the assumption would be they would want that.
Yeah, the next step is I want an apology. That's a big one. I want an apology. You never called me, and it feels like you never cared about me.
Yeah.
I want you to apologize.
Yeah.
And then she'll be like, sorry. And you'll be like, you should be.
Apologize for the fact that now when I have sex, it's the only time I feel present.
Yeah.
And that makes people that date me go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apologize for that.
Apologize for that.
Making my mom
say
apologize
sorry to
the
these
people.
lists of women.
Yeah.
Call them up.
Giving my mom their phone
I don't
number.
call him. I'm very neglectful. I'm sorry that he dicked you down. So good.
Sorry that he tied you up with your consent.
With your consent. Sorry that he did a bunny around the ear and then just went tight down the trail.
Who is this?
Huh? Who is this?
No,
Who's this?
Who?
Dude, but talking to John's dad, I was like, this is so... I mean, he was so lucid. And he was like, also, I'm watching your clips. I know you people tell you you're a lesbian. You're not a lesbian, okay? I see that on you. And I was like, this is all I want to hear. He's like, you're underselling yourself. You think that... And I was like, this is like unbelievable. And they're together and love each other.
Yeah.
And I do think that like a big part of that is they are people who do the choice thing. Like my mom would be like... When she was with Michelle, my other mom...
Yeah.
Michelle like saved my life. Like I was like a mall goth, cutting myself, wanted to kill myself, and Michelle just came in and was like, I love you. And I was like, you don't even know me, bitch, and I'm fat. And she was like, oh no, I love you I love you because I love all of it, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's weird. And now Michelle is like very much this role that I go to in my mind of like she is the maternal safe place. And my mom, when my mom left her, it was like, because my mom cheated on her with somebody. And I remember being like, this is a choice. You made this choice against me. And that isn't fair. Like and I think that's a big thing for couples is they're like, we had a kid and we have to make this choice to not only tolerate each other, but love each other. Yeah. So I do think that that's the thing that me and you are missing is like, we probably don't trust, maybe because I used to be 1,000 pounds and you used to be a drug addict. We're like, I can't trust the choices I make. So like,
oh my God,
or I can't keep them afloat.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, it feels like a balloon that you're like, I got it. And you're like, I have to put it down. I'm putting it down. It's going down.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Because I feel this way about like when I make a choice in a relationship, I literally have the thought, I'm like, am I just addicted to this person?
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I mean, I guess that's possible. That's totally possible.
We are addicted. There is addiction relationships.
Yeah.
There is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The back and forth.
The fact it's my first thought. I'm not like, oh, I'm excited to see them again. My first thought is this like cyclical? Is it chemical? Is it just because I'm running from negative feelings within myself, which is like what addiction was. Like I feel lonely and I do Oxy, and then when I'm lonely, I don't feel bad. I'm alone doing Oxy, but I don't feel bad anymore. I feel like I'm on Oxy. So I'm like, am I just doing that with a human?
Yeah, totally. I always think that, but then I'm like, I don't care. I will mainline this shit. I will because the majority is I'm so not addicted to this person that I want to kill myself. Like I so don't care about them.
Yes.
That when I do get addicted, I'm like, finally.
Yeah.
You know what? I finally hit a vein.
Yeah.
But it is, I mean, the addiction thing is, it's like if you do Oxys, the problem with Oxys is when you get high and then you come down, right? That's a drug, is you get high and you come down. If you're in a relationship that makes you go high and down, that's what addiction is.
The down is right.
Yeah.
The down is the bad part. Yeah.
If you're just high and they make you feel amazing for 48 years, that's just a good relationship.
That's a good point.
I mean, I said to my therapist, I was like, listen, there's a feeling that I get with toxic relationships where I am laying on a man with my head on his chest, and he is as safe as I felt with my dad when I was little. And I was like, that feeling, I'm so scared you're going to tell me, is toxic. And he was like, not at all. He was like, all of us are trying to return to childhood sense of safety. That's totally normal. He goes, you're giving it to people who don't deserve it. Like you're basically being like, you're as safe as my father was to people who are not safe at all because my dad wasn't safe. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
So he's like, you can get that place. You know, he's like, I have that in my relationship where it's like, this is where I'm safe. This is home. And it's from years of working to get there. You don't just get to like, it's like Oxy. It's like you can get to a place where you feel so good off of running 10 miles.
Yeah.
But you have to work to get there.
Oh.
You know? So I think that fast hit that you get when you're like, I love this person. I trust them with my life. They are everything. If I was on a desert island, I'd choose them to be there. That's like not, you know?
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
It's more, it's like the way you think about it. Like I'll think about every relationship the way that I thought about Oxy, meaning I'll be like doing it and questioning it also at the same time.
Oh.
There's not a sense of like, it's like maybe it's my own anxiety. I think it's the anxiety is the source of this way of thinking. But I'm like, is this real? Is this just like me running from a negative thing? And then when I'm with them, I'm like, do I have a real connection, or do I just prefer to be with this person versus being alone? It's also sense of safety. I've never felt that ever. So I'm not trying to return.
The questioning makes sense. I think that is also somebody who doesn't really trust themselves because they've proven to be untrustworthy.
Yes.
Where you're just like, is this bad? Is it gonna? Yeah. And it is with you have the tendency to be like, I might be making a bad decision. I should think about this. I should pull back. I should wait a second. And for me, it's like, I need to throw everything into this because sooner or later he's going to figure out who I am, and then he's going to reject me. So I need to like fully, it's scarcity mentality. Mm-hmm. It's why I got fat and you didn't. You know? And I do that where I'm like, I don't care if it's a drug, I just have to lock this drug down.
Yes.
I have no, like, I'm so jealous that you have that capacity, that you're like, let's look at this. Is it bad? I'm like,
no, but that's not a capacity. It's a condition. I can't not do that. Even if it's the best, most perfect relationship, I'm doing that all the time. All the time. And I mean this, everything that bothers me individually, I immediately go, fuck, wait, am I crazy? Do I not know who this person
you're
is?
Classic avoidant. That's
avoidant?
So classic. Yeah, classic.
Interesting.
Docking, making lists, being like, these are all the things I don't like, and obsessing about them, and being like, this is why I have to go. I knew it wouldn't get work. I have to go. And it is like, apparently avoidance, I never believed this, but apparently it's like, if you were to be like, I don't care that she does those things and I love her, the big fear you have is being abandoned. That eventually you'll give in, open up to them, and then she'll be like, fuck you, this is gross. Where did the guy go who kept me at an arm's length? But I think that's like one of them. But I think the other part is the sense of like the overwhelming sense of responsibility. Like, I'm going to have responsibility for this person, and I should get out now before it's like I become like a bad I have to back away and it's too late.
Both of those. I mean, both of them for sure.
But you can always get out.
That's true.
That's what my friend said, who's an avoidant who chose her husband. She was like, I can always leave. Like, that's what she's always like, now that I realize that, like, we can get married and I can still leave. Like, I don't have to obsess about that. But yeah, I don't.
It's a good, it's a funny way to go into a marriage.
Always.
Like, of course I'll marry him. I could just divorce him.
I think that's how people, like Frida, what's her name? Kahlo? How do you say
Frida
it?
Kahlo.
She has this quote that's like, I'm never going to ask you to do all these things because if I have to ask you, we shouldn't be together.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is the sense that you can always leave. That's why kids are like going into it and being like, I can't leave because these kids, I think makes a bad childhood. But if you're like,
yeah, I my sense, I don't know about you. My whole thing is I sense that I should leave, and then I communicate once or twice the problems that might make me leave, either with the stakes attached by going, I don't like this, and if it doesn't fix, we're probably going to have to break up, which is like a crazy way to bring up a problem, or by just going, I don't really like this, and then just leaving it at that, which doesn't even communicate the level to which I don't like it. So either way, like in both cases, if I communicate it with the stakes, they're like freaking out. They're like, wait, I don't want to break up. And I'm like, no, I'm talking about this thing.
And then they get way worse.
Correct. And then if I just communicate like, oh, I don't really like that, it just keeps happening because they don't understand the level to which it's annoying me. My struggle is to communicate appropriately the amount that's something I dislike. So what ends up happening is I end up like communicating a couple times about the things I don't like, and then it builds up huge in my head, and then I just, boom, I'm out.
The way you start with that is, Mom.
Yeah.
You should have called me. I want an apology.
Yeah, literally.
You know,
yeah.
That's what Alan says is like, he's like, you just let random people you hate have sex with you because you let your parents just abuse you and you let your sister abuse you. Like you didn't put up a fight at all. Yeah. And now you'll just do it with everybody. So you have to like go back and like have give the little kid boxing gloves and be like, you can't fuck with me. And then because it doesn't, you say that to a woman and you're like, it makes me feel X, Y, and Z. And it's like, I don't think it fills the hole that is why, because say I go back and I'm like, you fucked up. You shouldn't have treated me like this as a kid. Mm-hmm. When that woman does something that annoys you, when she, goes like this with her teeth or whatever it is, and you go, that's aggravating, you might not have the hate in your heart to even care. Yes. If you deal with the initial thing.
Right. It doesn't trigger that initial thing because you've dealt with that initial thing.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, if I had like the things I think about how mean I was to Jack about my ex, it was like crazy. And it was just because I was letting everybody in my life walk all over me that if he made a noise, I would be like,
yeah. Yeah.
And I had no I had no infrastructure to be like, I don't want to do 6 shows a night. No, I don't want to go to this thing. No, I don't want to wake up. Damn. I was just like, yes, yeah, I'll do whatever. I'll do it. Which helps for comedy, but it was not good for being in a relationship.
It does help for comedy. That's kind of the thing too, is things that help in comedy are detrimental to the rest of your life.
Yeah. You have to be like this groveling, just like constant. That's why I think you have to wait until you have your feet on the ground in order to be in a relationship.
Oh yeah, in comedy you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that more and more for sure.
Because like, you just feel like you have to say yes to every single thing. Yeah. You feel like you have to slam podcasts back to back. You have to be on the road. You don't get enough sleep. And then you have a girlfriend being like, but do you want to have a date? And you're like, I want you to die.
I'd rather shoot you.
Yeah. It's mean. It's mean to do
a
that
date?
In general.
What about this? You suck my dick while I'm asleep.
Yeah. I have a counter offer for you. Okay. I'm going to podcast with my buddies. You jerk me off furiously.
You stay under the table, jerk me off.
I think we have to go.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we do. Wow. That was so fun.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah.
Plug. My people are going to love it.
What?
My people who watch this, I know they're going to love it. They're going to like it.
Oh, the pod. Yeah.
Because we tackled a lot there.
Okay,
do you want to plug?
Yeah, I mean, I'll plug my podcast.
Yeah.
Can I Go Home Now? The podcast. Also, I'm on social media and touring occasionally.
Your email list.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. JamieWolfComedy.com /tour if you want to see me perform in your city.
Yeah, you should go. He is incredibly funny. He is crushing it. He just got past the cellar, and he's crushing it. It's great. You're doing great.
Thank you.
You have me and my friends all have a joke that we love of yours that multiple of them have been like, have you seen this guy? And I'm like, that's Jamie. We love it. The salutations joke.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's incredible.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Bye.